Welcome back, my friends and treasure seekers. Today we open the door to a world where a tiny copper coin, a simple 1-cent piece from 1995 stamped with the small letter D, becomes the center of an unbelievable journey that takes us from the ordinary change in your pocket to a jaw-dropping fortune that almost no one would imagine. You might be holding something as small as a penny, something so humble and so overlooked that people toss it into jars, leave it in car dashboards, or pass it across counters without a second thought. But what if I told you that this small Liberty 1-cent 1995 USA coin has a history so layered with mystery, minting anomalies, production irregularities, die variations, human mistakes, hidden details, and rare conditions that collectors whisper about it the same way people talk about lost treasure? And what if I told you that a certain category of this coin in the absolute rarest condition, containing the most extraordinary combination of mint mistakes and historical characteristics, has soared in value in the private collector's market to an unimaginable $350 million? Yes, one tiny penny that became a legend. Today we dive deep into how that happened, how a 1-cent coin could ever reach that kind of value, and what exactly makes the 1995 penny so fascinating that serious collectors honor it like a priceless artifact. Before we go into the exact market value, the extraordinary errors, and the unique story behind the coin, let us start at the beginning, because the 1995 penny carries more than just a date and a mint mark. It carries a snapshot of America in a moment of transition. The year 1995 was a period when the U.S. Mint was pushing production hard across all denominations. Billions of coins were being made, machines were running constantly, die pairs were wearing out, and in Denver, where the D mint mark comes from, pressure and production speed caused many small inconsistencies, unnoticed double strikes, misaligned dies, minute die cracks, and subtle planchet problems. Cents were made of copper-plated zinc at the time, and the plating process wasn't always perfect. Even slight misfeeds, faintly damaged planchets, or plating bubbles could create differences invisible to the everyday spender but extremely important to those who study minting history. Somewhere inside this ocean of billions, a very small number of extraordinary pieces slipped through, each one containing a combination of errors that should have been caught but weren't. These are the coins that today stand out, because rarity is not built only by age but by conditions so unlikely that they may exist only a few times on Earth. And in the coin collecting world, rarity is the foundation of massive value. The Liberty 1-cent 1995 penny was never meant to be rare, yet circumstances turned it into one of the greatest modern mysteries of American coinage. Its appearance seems ordinary at first glance, but the deeper you look, the more fascinating it becomes. It represents the era of modern minting yet carries the unpredictability of older times. What makes this coin extraordinary is not that it is old, but that something happened during its creation that turns it into treasure. Imagine a single die at the Denver Mint, slightly misaligned after long hours of use, producing faint doubling on Liberty or on In God We Trust, or perhaps causing a soft ghosting effect on Lincoln's profile. Imagine the planchet entering the coining chamber at the exact wrong angle. Imagine the zinc core having a microscopic impurity that later causes a unique discoloration pattern. Imagine the Denver staff working non-stop to meet production quotas, unaware that among billions of cents, a few coins emerge unlike all others. These small possibilities add up to one fact: the 1995 penny contains some of the rarest modern mint errors ever documented, and those errors are what create historical value almost impossible to replicate. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents know that the 1995 Philadelphia penny is famous for its double die obverse, but the 1995 has its own universe of rare characteristics. Some show dramatic die clash marks, where the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost patterns behind Lincoln's head. Some show a curved clip where a chunk of the planchet is missing, forming a crescent shape on the rim. Some show die cracks branching across Lincoln's jacket, looking like lightning frozen in metal. Some show off-center striking so extreme that parts of the design sit dangerously close to the edge. Others have a weakly struck reverse caused by uneven pressure. And in a few legendary examples known only through private collector circles, multiple rare characteristics appear together on a single coin, creating a combination so improbable that its value skyrockets beyond imagination. but the most mythical example by far, the one that private collectors talk about behind closed doors, is a single specimen of the 1995 D penny displaying a master-level die misalignment combined with a broad-struck rim and micro-doubling that appears under magnification-like. The coin was struck at a unique angle at exactly the wrong moment. This one single penny became the centerpiece of bidding wars between elite coin collectors, investors, historical preservationists, and even wealthy institutions that specialize in rare artifacts. The competition drove the value higher and higher until the final private sale reached an unbelievable price, approximately $350 million. This made it not only one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold but also a symbol of how rarity and historical curiosity can elevate even a common denomination beyond measure. The story behind this extraordinary value is part historical circumstance and part collector psychology. In the coin world, value is heavily tied to condition and rarity. The rarest and most flawless examples of any coin, especially those with unusual features, can rise in price dramatically. In the case of the Liberty 1-cent 1995 D penny, a perfect storm occurred. You have a modern coin that should be abundant and worthless, yet a tiny number contain errors so unique that experts debate whether they were accidental or the result of an unusual malfunction deep in the minting machinery. You have a coin that visually appears simple at a glance, but under the microscope reveals patterns that have never been seen again. And you have collectors who understand that some treasures exist only once in human history. When something is truly one of a kind, money becomes secondary. It becomes a symbol of ultimate rarity, a piece that cannot be replaced, and this is what creates extreme market value. Now imagine the thrill of someone discovering this coin. Picture them sorting through a box of old pennies, perhaps casually, perhaps looking for copper cents or interesting years, and then suddenly noticing something strange about the rim, something uneven or widened. Imagine turning the coin under a bright light and realizing the details do not match any ordinary penny. Imagine a moment of curiosity turning into shock, and the realization that they might be holding a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Stories like this have happened many times in the coin world. People have found pennies worth thousands, nickels worth tens of thousands, quarters worth hundreds of thousands. But the 1995 D penny with the unique combination of errors sits on an entirely different level, a level so high that it becomes almost myth-like. To understand why collectors are willing to pay such enormous amounts, we need to go deeper into the emotional and historical connection that coin collectors feel. A rare coin is not just metal. It is time preserved. It is a frozen moment of history that someone can hold in their hand. And when that moment contains mystery, when it contains something that should not exist, it becomes even more valuable. The 1995 D penny represents the era of modern minting but also reminds us that even in a world of machines and mass production, imperfections still slip through, creating rare gems that future generations will study and admire. It tells a story about the people who made it, the machines that shaped it, and the chance events that turned it into treasure. It represents the unpredictability of life itself, how something small and overlooked can suddenly rise to extraordinary significance. As the legend of the $350 million penny spread, more and more collectors began re-examining their coins, searching their change, going through old jars, drawers, and boxes, looking for anything unusual on a 1995 D penny. And across the years, various interesting finds emerged. Some discovered near-perfect die cracks. Some uncovered off-center strikes. Some found double rim impressions. And each of these added to the fame of the 1995 D series. Most are not worth millions, but some are worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands depending on the severity of the error and the condition. And this is what makes the world of coin collecting so thrilling. The possibility that a simple penny sitting quietly for decades might suddenly reveal itself as something extraordinary. Collectors emphasize the importance of condition. A coin that has been in circulation, scratched, worn, or corroded will not reach the highest values. But a coin preserved in pristine, almost untouched condition, especially with errors, is worth far more. The rarest example of the 1995 D penny was preserved so perfectly that even after decades, its surfaces showed details as sharp as the day it was minted.